Welcome to this class session where we'll be talking about what exactly is family constellation and how it can help you. So, family constellation is actually a modality that helps you uncover the hidden dynamics, okay, of any relationship. So, whatever your problem, your issue may be it health, career, personal relationships, or anything, even as simple as, in fact, I would add here that any diseases, kids who suffer from ADHD, long standing chronic illnesses, BP, uh, cough, all these things can be looked from the angle of family constellation. So, this is a part of ancestral healing, ancestral trauma, and intergenerational trauma. So, I'm just referring my notes. And this comes under the field of epigenetics. Epi means beyond, and genetics, you would understand the science where we study the DNA and its coding and how things are passed down. So, it's very easy, you might have heard people saying that, oh, you look like your father, your nose is, you've taken after some relative in your family. But epigenetics, it just says that it's not just the physical features that you inherit. You inherit your ancestors' beliefs, their stories, their behavior, in fact, their experiences. And that is the basis of family constellation. In fact, the entire ancestral healing is based on that. So, ancestral trauma, what it would mean is anything that you have experienced, your ancestors have experienced, okay, it stays in the body and then it gets passed down through generations until it's acknowledged, until it's seen, until it's given the space that it duly deserves. Okay, a very common trauma that we people in India might relate to is the 1947 war and the India Pakistan partition. And along with that, there were so many things. People had to leave their home, their settlements, their businesses. In fact, there have been cases of molestation, of robbery, where one day you might have been so rich, and the next day you don't even have a place to stay or even food to eat. Another common trauma that we collectively, or maybe as a society, we experienced is the immigration that Kashmiri Pandits faced. Okay. So, all these things, when that happened, the people who experienced it, they didn't have the voice to understand. They didn't had. So, what happens? What exactly is trauma? I'll just first go to that. So, trauma is anything that happens too fast, too soon for the body to, you know, assimilate, in simple words. Because I could not digest it, because I could not assimilate it, because I could not respond to it, it stayed with me. Okay, so it stayed in the body. And when trauma happens, again, I'll just repeat that, it's too fast, too soon. So our episodic memory, the memory that says that, okay, today morning I woke up and I brushed my teeth and then I took a bath. And then, so this is episodic memory where you can recall the incident step by step, one after the other. So during the process of a trauma, the episodic memory, it gets fractured, okay? Uh, our limbic brain, the brain part which is associated with uh, survival instincts, that takes over. So our episodic memory is compromised, and we remember that particular episode in parts, okay, in fragments. So sometimes maybe you just remember the color that was around, or maybe just the sounds. So someone might take the trauma, how a trauma can carry is that they might get triggered by the sounds of uh, say crackers, because at that time there were bomb explosions going on, And because the earlier bomb explosions now connect to the sounds of the crackers. And such things might be might seem very insignificant, but they become such big things. And that is why I'm sure that you, when you're listening to this session, or you're attending the session live or listening to it later on, you are keen because you have an issue wherein you don't know how to go forward with it. So, wherever that block is, it might be as simple as that I'm not getting the desired result in my business, and I'm putting in hard work, but either the money is not coming in, either the clients. So, it can be looked at different ways, but yes, so that's it. So, before understanding what is family constellation, I'll just introduce you quickly to one term called system. So, system is anything that has parts, and that is, you can see a fridge as a system. So, it has different components, okay, different parts, right? That is one thing. And another thing is that different parts have a correlation. So, all the different parts in the fridge are working together to keep your food cool. And then they have a hierarchy, like they have a system where one thing comes first, and then the second, and then the third. So this applies to the organizations as well, to say gadgets, and also a family is a system. And that is the system we work in under family constellation. Okay. So, okay, again, I'm just adding that a family, a system, always has certain laws and rules. And over the time, if someone, so there's one area where the trauma that happened with someone that is traveling along the generations, then another case can be that when someone has been excluded because they didn't follow the laws and the rules of the system, or because they became the threat to it. So, say a person, intercaste marriage is still huge in so many societies, in so many cultures, in India and abroad also. But then, because of this, if some person is asked to leave that system, okay, and the system as a whole means your family, your father's family, your mother's family, whosoever was involved, they don't talk about that person who was asked to leave the home because of intercaste marriage. That's just an example. Okay, and when this happens, because that person was not given its due place, and then this person goes and has a family, so this family in itself, total, they feel ostracized, they feel, left out. So the experiences of this person who had to leave the system and the generations that come after that. So the experiences travel through this. And also now we have a bigger system. So some person in the future generations of the bigger society might identify with this person who had to leave the home. Okay. And then bring in their story to their life. I hope it's not complex. If it is, you can ask any questions. Okay. So, what do we do in family constellation? And I guess this is the most important thing, the main thing that you've actually come here for. So, behind the scene, what happens is we take the problem statement. As simple as that. What is exactly that it's bothering you? We take the case history. When did it start? What was happening around it? Does it, do the symptoms change? And does anybody else in the family has it? We have a set of questions. Okay. So these questions help us pinpoint or, travel to the source of the trauma. Now, this is behind the scene. Like this happens before the actual family constellation is set up. But on the day of the setup, I'm sorry, excuse me. We have people whom we call representatives. Representatives play the role of the members or the parts of your system, which represents main is one is you and one is the problem area, problem person, problem statement. Okay, so these are the two main components. But other than that, if the nature of the problem calls, we'll have more representatives. But I really want to add here that it's not role play. It's complete energy work, deep energy work. And while I am at the energy thing, I'll let you know about knowing field. But first, let me complete that what happens during NFC. Okay, so the representatives take in the roles, different roles of the various parts of your system. And during this, one of the major things that we say is don't use rational brains, just tap into your body. And the energies that you feel, that's where the magic happens. So, what is this energy and how does it work? So, there is a concept called knowing field. Okay. And this knowing field is one that carries all the information of your family, the hierarchy, the functions, the parts of your family. Okay. This is an energetic field. This is, you can say, a library of the records of your own family system. Okay. And in family constellation, we work with order, like who came first. So, you might have seen people taking care of parents in a way that they become the parents and the parents become a child. So, one of the laws or the orders of love says that parents are big and children are small. This might be a very simple statement, but the family constellation reveals that if the orders of love have changed, if the roles have reversed, this can have different consequences in your life, right? So we work with order, we work with energy, and energy comes from the knowing field. And also, the body remembers. The body has the memories stored in it. And once you tap into it, you would know. And the facts. Facts is what you bring in as a seeker. Okay, so whatever you tell us about the family, and we're not interested really in the stories, but then, yes, of course, they do come up. And even without the stories, the resolutions do happen because the main work of a family constellation is to bring into picture one thing that has been excluded, what has not been said, what has not been expressed. So that is the main work of the duration, like what we do during the family constellation. And generally it takes 60 to 90 minutes of the session. Okay, so there'll be work before the session that was regarding the questions that we take after the session also. So I'll just come to that later in the later part of this explanation. So family constellation is a movement, it is an expression, energy, emotions, catharsis, and realization. So, movement happens during the constellation by expressing the energy and emotions that have not yet been expressed. And catharsis simply is, the change of emotions that happens during that time and the realization, oh, this happened. And this is the root cause of my problem. And my problem is not coming from today, and it's coming from maybe some other person's story in my ancestral line, in my lineage. Excuse me. So, family constellation just restores the orders of love and brings people their rightful place. So, what are orders of love? There are several, and that have been defined, but just to pique your interest or satisfy your curiosity, you can say either. I'll name a few that I've noted down that there's a rightful place for everyone. Okay, so the example that I talked about, that person who had to leave his family, we just need to say that you belong, that we see your story. Another thing that I think I've already mentioned, that parents are big, children are small. Okay, and everyone belongs to the family, nobody can be excluded. And one of the example that I'm now reminded of is an early death or a sudden death or a death because of a disease. Those people are not talked about. Even in my family, one of my relatives, she had an early death in her 20s, and she's not talked about. So, if I may say that, just consciously saying that, no, you are a part of the system, you belong. And when it is done through the entire process of the family constellation, when the revelation happens, when we realize that where the energies are stuck, where the root problem is, and when after this whole setup, such statements are said with reverence, with feeling, with emotions, and not using the logical brain, that's where the changes start happening. And slowly you'll have time to integrate what happened, and you'll start seeing the shifts in your life. So, I'll briefly say, what does a family constellation really do to you? It brings harmony to the inner picture. What is the inner picture? Inner picture is how you see people. So many times it reveals that you think that you love your mother, but yet again, the child version of you, the inner child version of you, sees mother as a distant person. And your physical reality might not match this internal emotional experience. Your physical reality might say that my mom provided for me, my mom gave me food on time, my mom put me to sleep. But the picture that your inner child carries, the inner picture that you have as a child is that mom was lost in her story of losing a sibling in her 20s, right? So, this brings harmony to the inner picture. It brings realization about the systemic nature of the problem, that your problem didn't start here. It originated maybe one generation or five generations beyond. And because it had been carried out for so long, that's where the problem is that you had to go through for such a long time. It helps you understand that your problems were never really yours. And also, here, we're not putting our ancestors on, in a block or, as a block. This is just one part of the ancestral story where we say that, oh, I have inherited so many traumas from ancestors, but I have worked in it so deeply that I've realized that along with the traumas, that they bring you gifts as well. They have given you so many gifts because of the experiences they had. So, family constellation, though, may be, focused on seeing where your fractures are, where your breaks are with your family system. But yet again, let's not forget that our ancestors have given us gifts beyond the material things. Okay. And also, uh, all these things, all these experiences, even though they are negative, this happens because of our love and loyalty. And this is something that happens on a subconscious level because you are a part of the knowing field. You are a part of a bigger system, and family's soul is bigger than your own soul, right? So we did it because of love and loyalty that, oh, you stay, I'll go. Okay. And it helps you say and acknowledge what has been said, to include, to accept, and to welcome. So that's all from my side. I hope I've been able to bridge this gap between the term family constellation, which was supposedly a big thing, and your curiosity. If it has helped, if you have any questions, you can write to me. You can let me know, and you can book a single family constellation, or you can also um, do a three constellation. This is an offer that I'm running right now. So I guess I didn't introduce myself earlier, so I'll do that right away. That I'm a trauma informed intergenerational trauma healer. Okay, and I'm a transformation coach. That simply means that I help you bring a change in your life that you are looking for, a change that right now looks so big and it's almost impossible, but yet your heart yearns for it. So we set goals, and through that, we help you make feel better. And for this, I take journeys for 6 months, 9 months, and 12 months. And because it's long commitment, so I understand, and I offer one 60 to 90-minute free consultation call. So if you're called towards family constellation, a single session, that's also a possibility. But if you really want to do a deep sustainable work, You can respond with change. That's a session. That'll be a trial session sort of thing, wherein I'll take you through an experience where you see that, this is what I do and this is what I can offer you, and this is how we can go forward. So you can avail any of the offers. Do let me know. And that's all for today. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you listening and being present here. Thank you.